In this video, we'll provide an overview of the integrated e-signature system. To get started, log into your account and go to the Workflow tab. The integrated e-signature system piggybacks on the custom PDF system. This allows you to request a signature from your clients for any of your custom PDF documents. So for our example here, let's say we want to send out a contract for services, for DJ services for a client of ours. So we've come into Workflow and gone into Custom PDFs, and here you'll see a list of all of our custom PDF documents that are in our account. So go ahead and locate Contract for Services DJ, and we're going to go ahead and click the paper airplane icon to send this PDF to the client. As always, you start by typing the name of the event or the client to bring it up, locate it, and click on it. Now this is going to bring up at the top here our custom PDF document, which is our contract for DJ services. And you'll see it has merged in all of the client information and the event information, venue, all of our tokens are merged in. And as always, you can come in here and you can type in anything specific that you might want for this just one-time particular contract. If you want to include in here the package information or options that they're getting, you have that ability to type in there. We'll scroll down below that and you'll see the usual options here. Allow the client to download this PDF from the documents page of the event portal. There's a checkbox here if you'd like to download a copy. There's a checkbox to send this document by email. And there's a fourth checkbox here to request e-signature. This is if you'd like the client to electronically sign this PDF. So let's go ahead and leave that box checked. As we scroll down here, you'll see this is the body of the email that gets sent with the PDF. Now, in order for the client to e-sign it, they have to receive an email directly from the e-sign system with a special unique link that they will click on to sign it. So you may still want to send a more customized email, such as the one here, letting them know that they'll be receiving another email with a link to sign the document electronically. So for example, here, this says, hi Kelly, please find the attached contract for services for your review. You will be receiving a separate email with a link to sign this agreement electronically. Please reply or call with any questions. And this is going to send by default to the client's email address. It's going to come from the company, but you can always change that. You can decide whether you want to send a BCC copy of that to someone. And when you scroll down here, now you'll notice the section for request e-signature. And the minimum requirement is that there one person be signing it, the client. So you'll see client signer number 1, which is required. This is automatically carried down the client's email address from up here. So if we were to make a change to that, it'll automatically carry that down. Below that is an optional field if you want a second client signer. So this might be, for example, if you're doing a wedding and you want both the bride-to-be and the groom-to-be to sign this contract or agreement, you can put in another email address for another client here. And then the third optional field here is for whether or not you want somebody at your company to sign this document. So by default, it's none, but you can have a copy sent to the company's main email address or to specific staff members at your company. And again, that's an optional field. Some companies like to sign their agreements alongside the clients. Some companies don't like to do that. They just have the client sign those agreements. And then you can put an optional message to the client in the actual e-sign email if you want. And we'll go ahead and we're going to show you another example of that here in a moment. So we'll go ahead and check the box here for the disclaimer. This is just stating how the system works and to make sure that the system is legal and binding in your area. The laws vary by region and by state and by country. So you're going to want to just make sure that this system that we have here and the way that it's designed is legal and compliant for you so that you don't run into any issues on the back end. Once you get that though, go ahead and click Send PDF. And you'll see here that the system is actually going to prompt me to download this file because I had that box checked. So we'll go ahead and cancel out of that. And if I were to go into Events and locate this event and look at the event files, you'll see here now there's a new section, eSign Documents, that popped up since we have a document that's out for e-signature. So if you'll click on the icon over here, it shows you that it's been sent out for e-signature. It's got an hourglass because we're still waiting for that person to sign that document. Additionally, if we go back into Workflow and click on e-signed docs, you're going to notice here that we have that particular document, and it's with the hourglass showing us again that it's out for signature. This e-signed documents page is a legal repository of all your signed documents and any documents that are out awaiting signature. This is so that you can come in and have a full view of any legal binding documents that you're involved with for your company. You can come to this page. So let's go ahead and we're going to go back over to custom PDFs. I just want to show you one other option with this very quickly here. If we could come in here and let's say we want to send this particular contract, which is DJN photo booth, we'll go ahead and click the paper airplane. Again, we're going to locate the event, click on that. And let's scroll down here and let's uncheck the box to send by email. So you notice when I do that, that whole section with this drops out. So if you don't want to send your client two emails, that, one with the actual message and the other with the e-signature document, you can uncheck that box and just send them the e-signature request. And now using the custom message, you can put a little note in here for them that'll appear in the e-signed document email that they're going to receive. Going into my email, you'll see that we've received two email messages from the system for that DJ contract that we sent out. The first is the regular message that we had set up where we just said we've included the contract for services for their review, and it says you'll be receiving a separate email with a link to sign the agreement electronically. If we double click and open this PDF, what you'll see here is that this is the PDF of the contract agreement, but no signature information. It's just the raw text of the contract itself. Let's go ahead and close that out. Let's close that email. This is the second email that we received. This is actually from the e-signature system, and it is telling the client that Demo Account has sent you a document to review and sign, tells them the name of the document, gives information about the event, and then there's a link here that they can click on to review and sign the document electronically. And it's important that they don't share this email with anybody because each signer of the agreement will get their own unique code that keeps track of their identity and all the signing details. So let's go ahead and click on this. And what we have here now is a web page that is mobile responsive, so they can do this on their phone or in their browser, but that gives them the ability to now review that PDF document on their screen. They can review all the details in its entirety. They scroll down here, they're going to see the standard consent agreements for electronic signatures. Just says that they agree that this electronic signature will be legal binding, and you have to always give your clients the option to sign it by paper. That's part of the law, is that they do not have to give consent to sign electronically. So you'll see here some messaging here that says they have the right to opt out of signing electronically and they can contact you for a physical copy. But suppose they're good with it, they scroll through, everything looks great in the contract, they're going to just check a few boxes quickly, that they consent to sign the document electronically and that they have the authority to sign this document. They're going to acknowledge that they've read and reviewed the document in its entirety and that they understand and agree to the terms contained therein. So then they're going to go ahead from there and they'll go ahead and enter their full legal name. And you'll see when they do that, it's going to put a little mock-up of a signature below it. Go ahead and click Sign Now. And boom, the contract has been digitally signed at this point. So let's toggle back here just to show you a couple things. In the account, if we were to go now to the event and look at event files, you'll see here again, contract for services DJ, but now the icon is lit up green because we have a signed copy from Scott Kartsunis. And if there were other signers, they would appear in here as well. From the client's vantage point, if they were to log into their event from their dashboard, they were to click on Documents, you'll see here now that they have the ability to download not only the original contract, but also their signed copies. And again, if other people were to sign this agreement, they would appear in this list as well, and they could download anybody's signed copy. Going back into your management system, if you go back to Workflow, and click on e-signed docs, you'll see now that this document is in there and the information in the hourglass saying that it's pending signature has been removed. The document's now locked in here. There's no way to delete the document because now it's a legal binding contract and you have to retain a copy of that legally. So there's no way now to delete that. You can click on it to download it at any time if you want. But again, this e-sign documents page is really just a repository of all of the signed contracts that you have. Now that we have signed that agreement, let's go ahead and take a look at the email that we received. And this is the email that not only you will receive as the company, but the client will also receive a copy of this email because this is their quote unquote signed copy of the agreement that they're going to want to retain for their own records. And from your end, again, you have it stored in event files, and you can also access it from the e-signed documents page under workflow. So you don't have to keep this email unless you want to as an additional backup, but you will have these signed copies through your event management system. So this email is more of a reference to you that the client has signed the contract. So let's take a look at this email saying that the document has been signed by Scott Kartsunis. Again, it's giving us the document name, the event details, and in the attachment here, you'll see we have the contract now. But unlike the last PDF that we viewed that just contained the first 2 pages of contract text, you'll notice that this contract now has a 3rd page appended to it. And this 3rd page is the electronic signature confirmation page, which contains a unique document ID, the document name. The document SHA 256 hash is a hash code of the contract or the document itself, which is evidence that the PDF has not been tampered with or altered after signature. We have the signature ID, which is the unique ID that the system assigned to the signer, their name and email address, their IP address, their user agent, their signature method, which is typed name because they've typed their name in to sign, and a time and date stamp. Below that, we show the exact message that was presented to the client as well as the check boxes that they agreed to before entering their name to sign. So this has all the pertinent legal information on it for this to be a binding electronic signature. Now, if you have multiple signers of your agreement, each one of them will have their own copy of that with their own 3rd page that has their particular signature details on it. So if you have an agreement, for example, that has 3 signers, when you come in to your event to view the files, you will see all of those in there individually, and you can click on those to download those all individually based on which signed copy you want to view. What happens if we send out an agreement for a signature and the client has not signed it? So let's take a look at what that process might look at. Let's actually go ahead and send that contract for services for DJ plus photo booth and go ahead and send. We'll type in the client's name. We're going to keep this real simple. We have our contract here. We're going to uncheck these boxes. We're not going to download it. We're not going to send that by email. We're just going to request an e-signature. And let's go ahead and put in 2 signers on that, just so you can see what that looks like. Custom message, thank you for your business. Look forward to your event, let's say. Check our disclaimer, send PDF. So that now has gone out for signature. So let's go from workflow, let's go over to the e-sign documents page. And you'll see here we have that contract for services DJ plus photo booth for Taylor and Sanders wedding reception. And you'll see here now that it's showing as 2 documents that are awaiting signature. That's because that document has been duplicated, once for the primary client, test@intelligenceinc.com, and one for that secondary client signer, info@intelligenceinc.com, that we put in. But what I want to show you here is off to the right, if you click on the PDF icon, you can view the original PDF that has been sent to the client for signature. Let's say that something changes, they decide they don't want to book with you, or they want to do something different and you want to send a new contract or an amended agreement. Before it's signed, you do have the ability to delete this document by clicking the garbage can. And that'll delete that signature request. It won't come up if they were to click on the link. The second icon over here, the paper airplane, says send reminder. So this is if you sent out that email, the system sends out the email, and let's say they don't sign it after a couple days, or they say, I don't have it, it got deleted, it's lost, whatever, you can come in here and click this icon, and you can send them a reminder email to go in and sign that document. But let's take a look just real quickly as well, what happens here over in the event. So we're going to go to Event Files, and now you'll see we have two contracts in here. And again, we have two with the hourglass out for signature for our DJ Plus photo booth contract. And again, for our contract for services, if I were to click on that, that's the signed copy of the contract for services contract that we looked at earlier. And again, if we were to bounce over to the event portal to see it from the client's view, we're in the event portal, we go over to documents. Here we have documents that we've shared with the client. Here's those two agreements that we generated. I have my contract for services DJ Plus photo booth. You'll see I can download the original, and then I have the two that are out for signature. And I have my contract for DJ services where again I can download the original and I can download the signed copy that we signed digitally earlier. And again, one last reference point here. You can always go to Workflow and always go to eSigned Docs. And this is your central repository of all your legal agreements that have been signed or are awaiting signature. From here, you can search those documents. You can search them by a client's name, an event name, or an email address. And they will always be accessible through event files as well if you have the appropriate staff permissions for financial to be able to view financial management. But this is your repository if you ever need to come in here to pull up a legal binding document that you have signed with the client. And again, once it's signed, you'll notice that the garbage can icon disappears. And that is because once it's a legally signed document, you cannot delete it. You can supersede that agreement with another contract or a change order or an addendum, but you can never delete that original document because it has been signed and executed by the client. Just to wrap this up, we're going to go back to Workflow, Custom PDFs, and just remind you that, again, any of your custom PDFs can be sent out for electronic signature. They don't have to be. So for example, if you have some other custom PDF in here that you just want to send to the client, you don't want them to be able to sign it, you will always have that ability. All you're going to do is uncheck the request e-signature box, and you'll notice that the box at the bottom for the e-signature details will drop off. Check it, comes back on. So any of your custom PDFs can be sent out for e-signature, but it's completely optional. They do not have to be. And again, always double check with your local laws and regulations to make sure that this form of electronic signatures is legal and binding in your area. So we have designed this to meet the requirements of the U.S. eSign Act of 2000 and the Uniform Electronic Transactions Act, which is called UETA. But there are sometimes additional laws and regulations depending on your specific region. So you're just going to want to make sure that what you're doing here is legal binding so that you don't end up in a situation later where a client can claim that they never actually signed the documents because it didn't meet one of your specific requirements. So do your due diligence on that, and happy signing.